Hello everyone. I will quickly review what we've covered in today's lesson. We started the class by guessing the pictures. As you all can see, these are some pictures that we looked at in today's class, and you were asked to guess what comes in your mind when you look at these pictures. And some of you guessed about a mobile being manufactured, some of you talked about pollution, some of you guessed it's a factory, some of you guessed it's an industries. So this was an introduction to your chapter. We began with chapter number 7, industries. Now, what is the goal for today's lesson? The goal for today's lesson is to understand what exactly are industries. So, we're going to learn what are industries. The second goal is we learned about why do we need industries? What are the reasons behind needing and requiring an industry? And then we learned about one classification of industry that is based on raw material. So, let us begin. Now, after looking at the pictures, most of you guessed it very correct. So, we learned about pollution, water, we learned about mobile being manufactured, you told about pollution, air pollution in factories. So, exactly, this is chapter 7, industries, that we're going to begin. Now, what are industries? So, before that, there are a few terms that we've underlined in today's class. First term is a resource. Now, resource, what is a resource? So in this paragraph, basically we're learning about what is a resource. Now, as we all know, the world is endowed with large number of resources like mineral resource, we have forest resource, we have agricultural resource, and we even have human resources like doctors, engineers, teacher, nurse, lawyer. These are all different human resources that we have. But what exactly is a resource that we learn? We learn that resource is essentially associated with utility. Now, resource is something that has utility. Utility meaning something that is useful. So, anything that is useful is termed as a resource. So, it has to be useful. Unless and until there is any use of anything, it will not be termed as a resource. So, anything that does not have any use will not be termed as a resource. For example, coal was always there on the planet Earth, but it became a resource only when it was discovered that it can generate heat, light, fire, and energy. So that is what is a resource. Anything that has use, anything that is useful is termed as a resource. And one good example is a resource, coal, which was found on the earth's surface since earlier times, but then only after we discovered that it is of some use in generating heat, electricity, then we've termed the coal as a resource. Okay, then we give an introduction to industries. In this we learn how different rocks are formed on the earth's crust and how these different rocks are derived from minerals. There is something called ores that we learned. Ores are basically materials from where minerals and metals are extracted, and we learned how aluminium is extracted from its ore, bauxite. So the bauxite is an ore of aluminium because aluminium is derived from bauxite. Then we learned about how different processing and manufacturing takes place in all industries, and we defined what is manufacturing. The processing of natural resources into some other useful product is by a man is called manufacturing. And I gave you an example of how sugar cane could be a raw material and can be converted into sugar, which could be used by man. So that process of converting sugarcane into sugar is known as your manufacturing. And then we underline the definition of industry. And industry is the total sum of all different activities related to processing raw material and manufacturing takes place is known as an industry. So basically, industries are an organization that produce or supply goods and services. All different goods and services that we have are being provided and supplied by an organization which are termed as industry. Then here we learn that how man at one time was just engaged in and active on land and products received from mother nature. So all such activities such as are known as primary activities like mining, fishing, forestry, gathering, growing crops. So earlier times, man was just into activities such as fishing, forestry, hunting, gathering, mostly associated with mother nature. So all those activities are termed as primary activities. But with the development of technology, because the technology has developed, the advancement of technology has taken place, so now man has started processing those primary products into something more useful, and this is termed as a secondary activity of man. So converting all this forest products that was, that used to be just used by man in earlier times, but now the same forest products are turned into something else more useful, that is known as the secondary activities. And this major change from primary to secondary activities or manufacturing was termed as industrial revolution. Revolution means change. So this change that was brought about into, you know converting the raw material into a finished product is known as your industrial revolution. And the main force, Britain was the main force who was behind the idea of starting this revolution, followed by all of the different continents who were part of this revolution. So that was all about industrial revolution. Now, what happened when the industrial revolution started? The machines were invented, which reduced manual labor, gave way to huge machine driven and energy or power derived industrialization. So basically, with the industrialization taking place, industrial revolution taking place, human labor, manual labors was replaced because with huge machineries which could do work of 100 people at one time. So basically, it was less time consuming, so most of the labors were replaced by machinery. So that is what happened in the industrial revolution. So that was the first goal, where we've learned about what is a resource. Anything that is useful is termed as a resource. We've learned about second term, that is an ore. Ore is basically a material from where metal is extracted. We've learned about what is manufacturing. Manufacturing means converting raw material into something more useful, a finished product. We've learned about what are industries. Industries are basically organization that produce or supply goods and services that we demand. Now, the second goal for today's class is to understand, why do we need industries? What is the reason of having industries? So industries play a very important role in the process of economic development and progress of any nation. Any nation that has industry, meaning economic growth, is going to be faster, and we're going to develop, we're going to progress at a better rate. A country cannot live on agriculture or mining alone. It is that industry that brings transformation, meaning change, from traditional economy to industrial economy. So it is very important for a country to have industries, because it is industry that is responsible for bringing that change from just depending on agriculture to a more industrial or manufactured developed economy. Now, here are a few reasons why we need industries. The first reason is optimizing the resource utilization. If we have industries, we are going to make optimize the use of resources. Optimize meaning make the best use. So with the help of industries, we are going to make best use of all the resources that is available to us. If there are no industries, then we cannot use our resources in an effective manner. But only with the help of industries, we can use those we can use those raw materials in a more optimized way, meaning in the best way. Second, industries help to generate employment. With the help of industries, employment will be generated. So the problem of unemployment will go down. People will be employed. People will get jobs. So definitely that's the second reason why we need industries, because industries provide jobs. Third, industries help in increasing per capita, meaning per head income of the people, because they will be employed. So automatically per head income of all the people is going to rise, which means it is good, because the standard of living is going to get better. So that is how the country will develop. Fourth, we need industry because industry helps to satisfy diversified need of the people. We are humans and we have different needs. We all demand different things. So because we have all different varieties of needs and demands, industries will help us to fulfill all the demand that we need. All right. So that is the fourth reason why we need industry. Fifth, industries bring out economic progress, because when we have industries, we can trade with other countries, we can earn foreign exchange, and that can help us to develop our meaning progress, meaning to do better in terms of our economy. So we're going to do better. Making a country self-reliant. If we have industries, we are going to be self-reliant. We are not going to depend on others, like especially with situation like what has happened now. And we cannot just think of banning Chinese product if we are not self-reliant. We have to be self-reliant so that we don't depend on other countries, especially in situation like COVID that has taken place now, and how we can now make out that how much dependent we are with other countries and economy. And the last is, if we have industries, it can help us to provide economic political stability and security. So if we have industries to manufacture our demands, we are going to feel more safe and more secure. So these are the different reasons why we need industries. You have to at least know three to four reasons as to why we need industries. So that was the second goal, why we need industries. We need industries to make best use of our resources, for generating employment, to increase our income, to satisfy our demand, to grow as an economy, to be self-reliant, and to provide security to the nation. Now we move on to the third goal, where we are going to learn about the types of industries. Now industries are classified or categorized on three criteria. The first is on raw material. We have different types of industry based on raw material. There are different types of industry based on size, and there are different types of industry based on ownership, who owns it. But we are going to do just the first, that is, we're going to learn about just industries based on raw material. Raw material meaning the main product that we use. For example, if it's an orange factory and you're making orange juice, the main raw material would be orange. If it's a cotton textile industry, if you're manufacturing cotton cloth, the main raw material would be cotton. Similarly, if it's an apple juice factory, the main raw material is apples. So raw material is the main product that we use to manufacture something. So based on raw material, industries can be categorized into four main types: agro-based, mineral-based, forest-based, and animal-based. So let's look at the first type, agro-based. From the word itself, agro meaning something to do with agriculture. So these industries depend on the raw material produced by the agriculture sector. So anything that has been produced by the agriculture sector, that material used by an industry are termed as agro-based industry. For example, sugar. If you want to manufacture sugar, you are using the agriculture product sugarcane. So that is why it is an agro-based industry. If you want to produce or manufacture cotton textile or cotton cloth, you have to use cotton. So similarly, all those industries that use agriculture products are known as your agro-based industry. The second type of industry based on raw material is a mineral based. Again, it means they are dependent on mineral. So mineral based industries are use minerals. Metallic mineral, metallic meaning those have metals, non-metallic meaning those do not have metal. So industries that use minerals are known as a mineral based industry, and one very good example of mineral based industry is your iron and steel industry, because they use iron and steel, which are both minerals. You have other industries also, like transport industry, automobile industry, railway industry. They all use minerals, steel, iron. So that is why they are known as mineral based industry. For each industry, you have to know the definition and at least one example. Moving to the third type of industry, forest based, meaning they derive the products from forest. So industry that uses forest products are known as a forest based industry, such as timber, wood is from forest, even paper is from forest. So all such industries like a matchstick industry, which manufactures matchstick, pencil industry, furniture industries, they get the raw material from forest. That is why they are known as the forest based industries. And moving to the last portion, the fourth type of industry based on raw material is your animal based industry. Very easy to understand. Animal based industries, they depend purely on the animals and their products. For example, your dairy industry, the milk industry, you have to depend on animal for the milk. Your fish industry, your poultry industry, your leather industry, all where you use skins of animal. So those industry where you have to depend on animal are known as the animal based industry. So that is what we've learned till here for today's class, and towards the end of the session we engage in guessing the picture. Like you can see here, this is the sugar that has been manufactured. Sugar comes from sugar cane. That is why this is the agro based industry. This is the iron and steel industry, because they are derived the material from minerals like iron and steel. That's why they are mineral based industry. The third type of industry, this is a manufacturing of matchstick, which derives from forest. So that's why this is a forest based industry. And the last category of industry where we depend on animal and the products, so this is the animal based industry. So that is what we've learned in today's lesson. Thank you for watching.